Welcome to another episode of I Take
D.
I'm Joel,
And I'm Carla.
and this is season 5.
Yes.
And we is title actually 20 years in the making. This is our last episode
Of the season.
This is episode number 9.
Yes.
Okay, this is probably our longest episodes or the longest season. Yeah. So we told you guys last time that we wanted to kind of finish off. This is already 2009, and we finished off like right and with when Carla was. We were both told that it was technically almost impossible for you to get pregnant.
Yep. So in the last episode I shared that the doctors has given us the news that there was nothing we can do anymore. The doctors couldn't do anymore.
Yeah, we had tried everything
to help us with fertility and having a child. So I remember going and sharing the news with Joel because he actually didn't attend that doctor's appointment with me. I went on by myself, and we just cried and hugged each other and cried together. And I just learned that it was beyond our control, and it was not what any doctor could do, not what Carla could do, what Joel can do. It just was beyond our control.
It was crazy because they just kept telling us like, oh, we just don't know what's wrong. We don't find anything wrong. And they tried everything. When I say everything, we went to all types of doctors and specialists, fertility specialists who, we needed answers. We were trying to get answers.
And it wasn't that we were not able. If you heard one of the episodes from this season, you learned that we early in our first year of marriage, we actually had a miscarriage. So it wasn't possible. It just no one knew, right?
Yeah.
But speeding through that, that was in May.
That was in May. Yeah.
Craziest part, it was just around my birthday and Mother's Day,
right?
It
was around
what
Mother's Day.
Worst heartbreaking news to receive around your birthday and Mother's Day, because my birthday is in May.
Kind of falls around Mother's Day, yeah.
Around that area. But then
so then sometime in June, I don't even remember when in June.
No, I think we just let it go.
Yeah.
And we just,
well, we struggled.
We struggled
with the news, and then, but it was then.
Yes.
It wasn't until that point that doctors were like, look, there's nothing we could do. That we literally just like said, you know what, Lord? Okay, well then if it's not meant for us to have another child, it was the moment where we realized that it was beyond our control. Yeah, I guess that's really what happened.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And we just left it at that. It was hard for me, especially for me, to cope with the news a month later. So I think it was around mid-June, end June.
I don't even remember. All I remember is it's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm still sleeping, but Carla wakes me up and she says to me, I think I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm still like half asleep because she woke me up. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
We just, in my mind, I didn't want to say that to her, but in my mind, I'm like, they just told us a month ago that it couldn't happen. So now we are, like, in my mind, I'm also saying, I'm trying to still cope with accepting the news or the reality that we might not have children. Are you playing with me now? Like, what's going on?
It was just really weird because I woke up and I had kind of a dream of me being pregnant. It was just really surreal. But I wasn't feeling nauseous. I wasn't feeling sick. I know I was late. But, because of my fertility situation, I wasn't, as a woman, I wasn't regular, so I was not always on time in regards to that time of the month for a woman. So, but I didn't feel anything. I just felt like
I think I'm pregnant.
I'm pregnant. That's what that's what I shared with him.
So then I actually I said we might want to do another test.
Well, I did a test.
You did a test, and that's how you told me. I think I'm pregnant.
Because I went to the bathroom and I took, we have plenty of pregnancy tests still, because through the process of fertility, for those who've done that, you
always have them.
You always have them handy because that's part of the process. So we had some extras still, and I went to the bathroom and I took one, and he was still in bed, and I went to the room and I said, I think I'm pregnant.
Yeah,
and he's
not
like,
just
"What
in bed, I was sleeping.
Yeah, I said, he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I said, and then I show him the test.
Yeah, she
I
showed me
said,
the test, and
I
you
think
know
it's
my
positive.
eyes. So people don't, some might not know, but I wear glasses, and not just like thin glasses. So, but throughout the day, what I wear is contacts. So I'd have my contacts, I'd have my glasses, and I'm like, what? And she had just woken me up. So
What did you
yeah.
let me do?
I asked her to take
He
another
said,
test.
You need to take another test. I said, what?
I was like doubting Thomas at that moment. I was like, Jesus, I want to touch your hands to see that it's you for real.
So I went back and took another test.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I am pregnant because this is 2.
Yeah.
2 are saying that I'm positive.
Yeah. So we cried again.
Yeah.
And then we made an appointment with
the doctor right away.
The doctor right away.
I think it was right the next day.
Probably. I don't remember all the details.
It was right away. I know it was right away. It's a matter of a day or 2.
Yeah, but here's the funny part. When she shows up, I went with her. When she shows up and we see her doctor,
yes.
The doctor's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And Carla tells her, I think I'm
pregnant.
I got 2 tests
and they're positive.
And the doctor tells her, yeah, I don't think so. You know, we're gonna run blood tests.
Yeah.
From our lab, because remember I told you a month ago that we just don't think it's gonna happen. And Carla's like, well, take the test because I think I'm pregnant.
Yep.
And so they did the test. And you came out pregnant.
And it's positive. So yeah, she comes back in. I remember the doctor. She's like, oh my God, this is definitely a miracle.
Yeah, she told us.
This is definitely a miracle. This is a miracle, baby.
Yeah.
You are pregnant. You are pregnant. So I think, from there on, we decided that we were not going to share the news
with anyone until probably the second trimester because of the experience of the miscarriage.
Fertility issues for quite some time, 7 years, and then our miscarriage early on in that 7 years. So we decided not to share the news with anybody, but we did decide to just share the news with our parents. Only our parents knew. Because our parents are prayer warriors. And they knew our situation in details, everything we were going through as a marriage couple. So they the only ones that knew, and we told them that they could not share.
Yeah, we shared. So once she got to her second trimester, that's when we shared with the rest of the family and friends, and people were just enjoying the news with us. They were very happy. So then we fast forward. That was June of 2009. By January, so on January 5th of 2010, I take Carla for her regular appointment.
Yes.
And the doctor tells me on another room, because she didn't want to tell me in front of Carla. Carla had high blood pressure, and she had actually developed preeclampsia. So the doctor takes me out of the room and she's like, look, I need you to take it to the emergency room right now. And then they'll take it from there. So I took it to the emergency room. And in the emergency room, they told me she's going to have the baby. The baby wasn't supposed to be born until February, the end of February, closer to my birthday. But it was right there and then that they decided that it was too risky to keep the baby not from doing an emergency C-section, because the baby was on the risk of dying and Carla was on the risk of dying. So Abby was born January 6th. The very next day, they did an emergency section. I still remember it was 5:15 p.m. And Abigail was born in Hartford Hospital. And she was our little miracle. Even her name. We were fighting about names.
Yes.
Once we found out she was pregnant.
Through our whole pregnancy.
We're fighting about boys' names. Because we swore up and down it was going to be a boy.
Pregnancy was so different from my oldest.
It was. So you were like, it has to be a boy. So I'm like, so if it's going to be a boy, I want his name to be Lucas. She was like, no, his name should be Mateo. And we just kept going back and forth about Lucas, Mateo. We were actually upset at each other. We just could not compromise. We couldn't agree. I'm like, no, it's going to be Lucas. She's like, no, it's going to be Mateo. But then one day, we told each other, well, what if it's I don't know, maybe what if it's a girl? But we told each other, but it's not going to be a girl. But if it is a girl, well, it's not going to be a girl. But if it is going to be a girl, we both agreed it was gonna be Abigail.
Yeah, that was no doubt in our mind.
There was no doubt in our mind.
That's what we both wanted.
That it was gonna be Abigail Rosa, because I had, I wanted to like honor my grandma, whose middle name is Rosa. I wanted it in Spanish. So, but we were like, but it's not gonna be a girl, so that's all right. So let's put Abigail to the side.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to disagree about the boy's name.
Yeah.
So then
we find out.
We find out that is a girl.
That is a girl.
That is going to be a girl.
I remember the doctor asking us in the ultrasound, says, "So
do you have a?
She have a name?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yep, Abigail."
Yeah, Abigail.
And he said, "Any short name?"
Abby Kadabi.
And that's how.
That's how it came out. But then in church, one of a family member, she gave us a little paper and was like, "Don't open this until you get home." But God has told me what your child's name should be. She didn't know at that time the sex of the baby, because we had not shared with anyone. She said, God tells me the name of the baby, and with the name of the baby, he tells me the sex of the baby or the gender of the baby, and then gives me the meaning. So she gave it to us in a little sticky note. And we got home, and to our surprise, although we had already decided, to our surprise, in the little sticky it said, her name should be Abigail. And it said because it means father's joy. And we bawled out crying again, because we're like, wow, Lord, like it was a miracle. The fact that she was pregnant was a miracle. And then he gives us a name that, now that we think about it, we didn't even consult with God about what we should name this child.
We knew it was a biblical name.
It's a biblical name, and it's a beautiful story.
We knew what it
meant. Abigail,
It's a story that we both loved from the Bible. And
so
we knew the name that,
we knew what it meant to us.
And understood that. So, so Abigail was born.
Abigail was born premature. She ended up in the NICU for quite some time. Another challenge for us. Oh my God.
Because it was tough just to
give
birth to your child and then leave her in the hospital.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it was 7 days a week, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, going in and staying with her, because we did not want to leave her alone. Although the doctors did such an amazing job. They really loved her. Abigail was born 3 pounds, and by the time she ended up in the NICU, she was only 2 pounds. She was a little thing like this. Like even the dolly she had was bigger than her that we had in her crib. And that was Abby. That was actually the last grandchild that the great grandchild that my grandmother held and prayed over her. And a few months after, Abuelita Ana passed away, Grandma passed away. And so, Abigail still holds that special
place.
Yeah.
But, that's our story. I know we could not share everything that happened in our 20 years.
After that, we have another 10 after that.
So, but, I think we wanted to touch base in our really milestones of our marriage. The rough times, the not so easy times, the, things that we didn't know how things were going to work out. But I think at the end of it all, we chose to not give up.
I think that's key. Like, we chose to love each other and we chose not to give up. And that's what we want to, at the end of this whole journey, or as we continue our journey, 20 years in the making, it's really about, if you don't get anything else from the other 8 episodes or even this one, what we want you to come out of this one with is that we chose to love even when loving was hard and challenging.
Even through all of it, through the pains, to the, I don't want to be with you anymore. I can't stand you. All those things, because it happens in our marriage, and it's been 20 years, and we have many more to go. That we just
it's not easy.
It's not.
You have to make a choice.
We have to make a choice. We decided to stay together. We decided to love each other. And hold on to each other. You know, because that's at the end of it all. That's important. And so for some of you, we know that the circumstances are different, right? There might be abuse. There might be other things that didn't allow you to make that choice of loving someone. And so we recognize that and we understand that. But for others, that is really about that choice. It's about making that choice to love someone
we just encourage you, that as you hear our and view our last episode of this season, that you are encouraged to make a choice today. That if you're not there right now, that you make a choice today to love your spouse in the good and the bad, in the rich and the poor, in health and in sickness. That you continue to make that choice.
That's right.
So we thank you. It's been 9 episodes in the making, of 20 years in the making, and we just want to thank you for taking up your time to spend some time with us. And so we'll see each other in next season.
Yes.
Next year.
Next year.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. So take care.
All right. Bye-bye.